the City Council meeting of May the 4th to order. Pursuant to the Governor's Executive Order number 20-003, this meeting will be held by video telephone conference via Zoom. Would you please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, everyone. I'll take a roll call vote of those that are present this evening. Mayor Worth is in attendance. Councilman Bilsbach?
Yes.
Mr. Catlin?
Yes.
Mr. Claybaugh?
Yes.
Mr. Cook?
Yes.
Mr. Fairbanks? Mr. Kerr?
Yes.
McLean?
Yes.
And Morgan?
Yes.
7 councilmen are in attendance, with Councilman Fairbanks absent. An electronic copy of the Open Meetings Act is available at nebraskalegislature.gov, laws, statutes, statute number 84-1411. First item on the agenda is several proclamations. The first one is Building Safety Month. The proclamation reads as follows. Whereas the city of Beatrice is committed to recognizing our growth and strength depends on the safety and economic values of the homes, buildings, and infrastructure that serves our citizens both everyday life and in times of natural disaster. And whereas our confidence in the structural integrity of these buildings that make up our community is achieved through the devotion of vigilant guardians, building safety and fire prevention officials, architects, engineers, builders, tradespeople, design professionals, laborers, and others in the construction industry who work year-round to ensure the safe construction of buildings. And whereas these guardians are dedicated members of the International Code Council, a US-based organization that brings together local, state, and federal officials that are experts in the built environment to create and implement the highest quality codes to protect us in the buildings where we live, learn, worship, and work. And whereas our nation benefits economically and technologically from using the international codes that are developed by a national voluntary consensus code and standards developing organizations, our government is able to avoid the high cost and complexity of developing and maintaining these codes, which are the most widely adopted building safety and fire prevention codes in the world. And whereas these modern building codes include safeguards to protect the public from natural disasters such as hurricanes, snowstorms, tornadoes, wildfires, floods, and earthquakes, which, according to FEMA, commissioned study by the National Institute of Building Sciences, provide $11 in future mitigation benefits for every dollar invested. And whereas Building Safety Month is sponsored by the International Council Code to remind the public about the critical role of our community, largely unknown protectors of public safety, are local code officials who assures us of safety, efficient, and livable buildings that are essential to America's prosperity. And whereas Safer Building, Safer Communities, and Safer World, the theme for Building Safety Month 2020, encourages all Americans to raise awareness about the importance of safe and resilient construction, fire prevention, disaster mitigation, and new technologies in the construction industry. Building Safety Month 2020 encourages the appropriate steps everyone can take to ensure the safety of our built environment and recognizes that the implementation of safety codes by local and state agencies has saved lives and protected homes and businesses. And whereas each year, in observance of Building Safety Month, Americans are asked to consider the commitment to improve building safety and economic investment at home and in the community, and to acknowledge the essential service provided to all of us by local and state building departments, fire prevention bureaus, and federal agencies in protecting lives and community. Now, therefore, I, Stan Worth, Mayor of the City of Beatrice, do hereby proclaim the month of May 2020 as Building Safety Month. Witness my hand and official seal of the City of Beatrice this 4th day of May 2020. And we'll get a copy of this, a signed document, to our Community Development Department. Next is a proclamation regarding drinking water. Drinking Water Week, May the 3rd through the 9th, 2020. Proclamation reads as follows: whereas water is our most valuable natural resource, and whereas only tap water delivers public health protection, fire protection, support for our economy, and the quality of life we enjoy. And whereas any measure of a successful society, low mortality rates, economic growth, and diversity, productivity, and public safety are in some way related to access to safe water. And whereas we are all stewards of the water infrastructure upon which future generations depend. And whereas each citizen of our city is called upon to help protect our source of waters from pollution, to practice water conservation, and to get involved in local water issues by getting to know their water. Now, therefore, I, Stan Worth, Mayor of the City of Beatrice, do hereby proclaim May 3rd through the 9th, 2020 as Drinking Water Week. Witness my hand on official seal of the City of Beatrice this 4th day of May 2020. And a signed document will be forwarded on to our Water Superintendent, Steve Kelly. The third proclamation is the 2020 Preservation Month. The proclamation reads as follows: whereas historic preservation is an effective tool for a sustainable growth and economic development, revitalizing neighborhoods, fostering local pride, and maintaining unique community character while enhancing livability. And whereas historic preservation is relevant for communities across the nation, both urban and rural, and for Americans of all ages, all walks of life, and all backgrounds. And whereas it is important to celebrate the role of history in our lives and the contributions made by helping those to preserve the tangible aspects of our heritage, aspects that have shaped us as a people and has resulted in downtown Beatrice and other areas of our community to be recognized as National Historic Places. And whereas This Place Matters shall be the theme within Preservation Month in Beatrice, co-sponsored by Main Street Beatrice, Gage County Historical Society, and the National Trust for Historic Preservation. And whereas historic preservation is done to save our heritage for all generations. And whereas Beatrice residents can still celebrate National Preservation Month amid the COVID-19 public health emergency by sharing stories, exploring our community, and recognizing those who have invested their time and/or dollars to save local landmarks. Now, therefore, I, Stan Worth, Mayor of Beatrice, do hereby proclaim May 2020 as National Preservation Month and call upon the people of Beatrice to stake their claim and join their fellow citizens across the United States in participating in this special observance and to take action to preserve our places and stories. Witness my hand on official seal of the City of Beatrice this 4th day of May 2020. And a copy of this will be forwarded on to our Main Street Director, Michael Sopin. Next on the agenda is the consent agenda. All items under the consent agenda are considered to be routine by the City Council and will be enacted by one motion. There will be no separate discussion of these items unless a council member or citizen so requests. First item is item A, approve agenda as submitted. Item B, receive and place on file all notices pertaining to this meeting. Item C, receive and place on file all materials having any bearing on this meeting. Item D, approval of minutes of regular meeting on April 20th, 2020 as on file in the City Clerk's office. Item E, approval of Treasurer's Report of Claims. E1, approval of Gage Area Growth Engage claim in the amount of $28,142.22. Item E, approval of balance of Treasurer's Report of Claims in the amount of $177,135. Item F, approval of BOSWA Report of Claims in the amount of $8,683.38. And item G, resolution number 6557, reappointing Michael Fakler, Todd Heido, Troy Cook, Blake Mintz, and Kevin Reitzman, and appointing Eric Martin and Anthony Schoen as alternates to the Beatrice Board of Appeals. Is there any item that a council member wants removed from the consent agenda?
This is Clayball. I will abstain from E1.
So noted. Anyone else? Mr. Clayball?
I move that the item listed under the consent agenda be approved, accepted, or ratified as presented.
Second.
Moved by Clayball, seconded by Morgan, that all items listed on the consent agenda be approved. Bilsbach?
Yes.
Catlin?
Yes.
Clayball?
Yes.
Cook?
Yes.
Fairbanks? Mr. Kerr?
Yes.
Mr. McLean?
Yes.
And Mr. Morgan?
Yes.
And that is passed 7-0. Next item is a public hearing. Public hearing on the acquisition of real property from Larry R. Tegmeyer, trustee of the Larry R. Tegmeyer Living Trust, dated July 1st, 1997, described as follows: Lot 9 and the south half of Lot 10, Block 8, Fairview addition to Beatrice, Gage County, Nebraska, with a parcel ID number of 011462000. Mr. Templemeyer?
So this property is located, otherwise known as 1012 North 6th Street. As you can see on the map there, it is about a block south of the North Casey's, up around the Runza area. So it's a highway frontage property. The house on the lot has been demolished. Although it does show up in this picture, it has been demolished and is gone. The purchase price is $2,750. This is a commercially zoned lot, and so I think at this point the city's just looking to acquire it. I don't have any specific plans for it today, and see what may come in the future for a commercially zoned lot with highway frontage.
Any questions, gentlemen?
Stan,
Yes, sir.
this is Cook. Who owns the properties to the north and to the south? Is this all Tegmeyer too, or? I'm just wondering, what good is it going to do to buy a property in the middle of the block with, it's very small. I don't know if you could really build much on it. Is there any way to acquire more property later, or are we just buying a lot so we have to mow it?
I'm looking for you here real quick. None of the other lots are owned by Tegmeyer. I know that much, but let me see.
Isn't
So the answer to your first question is the lot is 75 feet wide and 140 feet deep is what you would be acquiring. The lot south of it is owned by Sean and Lori Sadoff. They're out of Lincoln. And the lot north is owned by HBMK Ventures LLC out of Roca.
Okay.
I think the plan here, Phil, is that residential property cannot be built back on this property because of the way it is. And not thinking of today, not thinking next year, but 10 years from now, as these properties can be acquired, it becomes more of a commercial district.
Right, it's commercial in nature. That's actually my grandma's old house there, so I know it well. I don't know, just in the middle of the block with nothing around it to appeal to it. I don't know, it's even worth $2,500. Maybe for free, we would take it, but I don't know. To get to it, you have to go through the alley in the back, so.
Any other questions? Mr. Claybaugh?
I move that the public hearing be closed at 7:14 p.m.
Second.
Moved by Catlin, moved by Claybaugh, seconded by Billsbach, that the public hearing be closed at 7:14 p.m. Your vote, please. Billsbach,
Yes.
Catlin,
Yes.
Claybaugh,
Yes.
Cook,
Yep.
Fairbanks, Kerr,
Yes.
McLean,
Yes.
Morgan.
Yes.
That is passed 7-0. Next is a resolution number 6558, executing a contract for sale of real estate to Larry R. Tegmeyer, trustee of the Larry R. Tegmeyer Living Trust, dated July 1st, 1997.
I move that resolution number 6558 be passed and adopted.
Second.
Moved by Claybaugh, seconded by Billsbach, that resolution number 6558 be passed and adopted. Any further discussion, gentlemen? Anyone from the public?
Stan, this is Michael Sothen.
Yes, Michael?
Just wanted to, not necessarily directly related to the sale of this property, but from both the market retail study that was done for Main Street, the Chamber, and Engage, and then also this most recent housing refresh. Properties such as this were brought up in both of those. In the housing study, it was brought up that, that properties like this that are residential and commercial, that there might need to be a review. Within the market retail study, they were a little more forceful about it and said, we have an overabundance of commercial property within the community, and that is part of what is contributing to challenges downtown and within other existing commercial districts. And that obviously we know we have a shortage of housing, and that we seem to be at odds with the way that our community has zoning in certain areas such as this, kind of at conflict. So just bringing that up, obviously nothing that is going to change here this evening, but obviously for a future point of reference, we do have some experts that have suggested that maybe this is a zoning policy issue that needs to be reviewed.
Okay. Thank you, Michael. Any other questions?
Stan, this is Catlin, just a comment.
Yes, sir.
On what Mike said, I think in some instances that might work out pretty well. But I think when you're looking at property along the highways like that, I think that's kind of imperative that you kind of keep a handle on that and keep that pretty much commercial. Because a lot of people, if they can buy property along commercial in a fairly decent rate, I think it'd still be, in the city's best interest to still try to keep those along the main corridors commercial. That's just my 2 cents.
Thank you, Mr. Catlin. Anyone else? Hearing none, your vote, please. Billsbach,
Yes.
Catlin,
Yes.
Claybaugh,
Yes.
Cook,
No.
Fairbanks has not joined us. Mr. Kerr,
Yes.
McLean,
Yes.
and Morgan.
Yes.
That is passed 6 in favor and 1 against Councilman Cook. Resolution number 6558 has been passed and approved. Next is resolution number 6559, executing the letter agreement amendment number 4 with Olson and Associates Incorporated and the city for construction engineering services for the WPC dewatering improvement project as recommended by the Board of Public Works.
I move that resolution number 6559 be passed and adopted.
Second.
Moved by Claybaugh, seconded by Cook, that resolution number 6559 has been passed and adopted. Tobias?
So we've been making improvements to the wastewater treatment facility for a number of years. the next step we've kind of been working on is the dewatering portion of the plant. This is kind of at the very end of the process, if you will. The current system that we have now uses a belt press. The belt press is rather old. Parts are coming very hard to come by, and so we're looking to change those out and put in some centrifuges at the end of the process. In doing so, we've already procured the equipment that'll be installed. In fact, it's already on site, sitting down there waiting to be installed. We've gone out for bids and got a contractor to install it, and we're waiting just for them to come in and get the contract signed and have them start. So this would be for the engineering services or construction engineering services by Olson's to oversee construction as we move this project forward. Between buying the machinery and the contractor to put it in, we've got roughly $3.2 million in this project at this point. If you'll see Olson's bid for engineering services for the construction phase of this was right at $461,901. Now, it's a large number, so I had an opportunity. I spoke with Olson's, kind of walked through how they got that number. And one of the things that I think, well, there's a couple reasons why. One is there's probably $50,000 worth of items that normally you would put and have the contractor put in their bid. We talked about doing that. Had we done that, the contractor, quite honestly, would have turned around and hired Olson's to do the work, taken Olson's bill, added a construction management fee to it, and turn around and billed us $50,000 plus their management fee. So we felt it didn't make much sense to do that. Two, another reason was when Olson's put together this bid spec, when we were still out for bid with the contractor, our bid allowed the contractor 15 months for installation of this product. In doing so, Olson's wanted to make sure that they were protected, and so they figured that they were going to have a guy on site 4 days a week for 15 months. Now, if you do the math, that gets to about $240,000 worth of this contract. Now that we have the contractor in hand, we're waiting to get their schedule. We believe that number will get reduced. We don't believe the contractor that we ended up with will be here for 15 months. And so I think you'll see that number come down. The third thing I would note is this contract is a not to exceed contract. So Olson's does not get paid $461,000 if they don't do $461,000 worth of work. They actually have to be here, they have to be on site, they have to be going through all the stuff. And if they do, they'll get paid for whatever the services they provide. So I know it's a big number, but you know, James and I had an opportunity to sit down and go through everything with Olson's. We do believe it's a fair number, and we believe that we would recommend approval for it.
Questions?
Dan,
Yes, sir.
this is Kerr.
Yes, sir.
Question for Tobias. You said a conveyor belt. Is that the big round thrusters that you're talking about that's going to be replaced with a centrifuge?
I didn't catch the middle part. Big round what?
Those big round drums that we've got, is that what you're talking about that's going to be replaced?
No.
The big round
I believe
wheels?
the items you're talking about are our RBCs. Those will stay. This is the very end process. This is basically what takes all the water out of the sludge. What's left gets hauled out to the compost site. So today we use a belt press today.
Yeah, and this will be, and you said it'll be a centrifuge unit.
Correct.
Okay, gotcha. Thank you.
Any other questions? Anyone from the public?
Mayor, the only other thing I would note is this entire project does fit within the budget that we had, and will fit with, and we've looked at a couple times, it will fit within all of the cash flow analysis that we've done here at the office. So it is within budget.
Any other questions? All right, gentlemen, are you prepared to vote? Mr. Bilsbach,
Yes.
Mr. Catlin,
Yes.
Mr. Claybaugh,
Yes.
and Mr. Cook? Mr. Fairbanks, have you joined us? No. Mr. Kerr,
Yes.
McLean,
Yes.
and Mr. Morgan.
Yes.
And that is passed 7-0. Resolution number 6559 has been passed and adopted. Next is an ordinance to convey real estate to L&M Goosen Enterprises Incorporated.
I move that said ordinance be given number 20-013, the title thereof be approved, the rules be suspended, and said ordinance be read by number only 3 times tonight.
Second.
Moved by Claybaugh, seconded by Cook, that the ordinance be given number 20-013, the title thereof approved, the rules suspended, and the ordinance be read by number only 3 times tonight. A motion to suspend the rules is not debatable. Billsbach,
Yes.
Catlin,
Yes.
Claybaugh,
Yes.
Cook,
Yep.
Fairbanks, Kerr,
Yes.
McLean,
Yes.
Morgan.
Yes.
Ordinance number 20-013 by number the first time, ordinance 20-013 by number the second time, and ordinance number 20-013 by number the third and final time.
I move that ordinance number 20-013 be passed and approved.
Second.
Moved by Claybaugh, seconded by Cook, that ordinance number 20-013 be passed and approved. Discussion, Tobias?
So this lot is at 728 West Mary Street. You can see it on the map. Hopefully it's on your screen. So this was a lot that was donated to the city in 2018. It was already a vacant lot. So we simply just maintained it over the last couple of years. We put it as part of our Mow to Own program, and L&M Goosen Enterprises Inc. has made application to acquire this lot. Their plan is to build a basement, move a house onto that lot. At that point, I don't know if they'll look to sell it or if they'll look to rent it out, but they're looking to make improvements and make it a single family residence yet again. So anytime we sell real estate, we have 2 steps. First, you have the ordinance, and then the second one, you have the resolution entering into the contract. As with any Mow to Own, probably the only one that's a little different, again, we assess a value of it based upon $60 per street frontage. From there, they acquire credits for taking care of the lot. However, if they make improvements on it, they get deeded the lot immediately. We retain a deed of trust once the house is complete. That being a certificate of occupancy is issued, the deed of trust is released, and it's their lot from that point forward.
And Tobias, they are planning on doing that yet this year. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Questions? Any questions from the public? All right, gentlemen, your vote, please. Billsbach,
Yes.
Catlin,
Yes.
Claybaugh,
Yes.
Cook,
Yes.
Kerr,
Yes.
McLean,
Yes.
and Morgan.
Yes.
Ordinance number, that passes 7-0. Ordinance number 20-013 has been passed and approved. Next is a resolution number 6560, executing the contract for conveyance of real estate between the city and L&M Goosen Enterprises, outlining the obligations of both parties under the Mow to Own program.
I move that resolution number 6560 be passed and adopted.
Second.
Moved by Claybaugh, seconded by McLean. Is that correct?
Yes.
Resolution number 6560 be passed and adopted. Any further discussion needed, gentlemen? From the public? And your vote, please. Billsbach,
Yes.
Catlin,
Yes.
Claybaugh,
Yes.
Cook,
Yes.
Kerr,
Yes.
McLean, That passes 7-0. Resolution number 6560 has been passed and approved. Next item is the public forum. The purpose of the public forum is for the presentation of an item by the general public to the City Council for consideration at a later date. No discussion or action will be taken by the City Council at this time. Does any council member have anything for the public forum? All right, gentlemen, our next regular City Council meeting is on May 18th, 2020. And my guess is that we will utilize the same structure as this meeting using a Zoom virtual meeting. And unless you hear differently. Mr. Claybaugh?
I move that the meeting be adjourned at 7:30 p.m.
Second.
Moved by Claybaugh, seconded by Bilsbach, that the meeting be adjourned at 7:30 p.m. Vote, please. Mr. Bilsbach?
Yes.
Catlin?
Yes.
Claybaugh?
Yes.
Cook?
Yes.
Fairbanks? Kerr?
Yes.
McLean?
Yes.
And Morgan?
Yes.
That is passed 7-0. Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Good night.
Good night. Good night.